Do you ever find that you're into sales calls and then you get them all set up and you're excited, and then all of a sudden they just don't show up, like you got ghosted? I'm going to give you a 3-step process on how to beat that every single time 100%. And I'm going to share a couple of tips on how to change up your process so it doesn't happen to you ever again. Sales Center, what happening? I'm Sean, and I am here with you today for another Sales Objection series. I'm so excited to be here with you today. Got a great question that came in from Jen. Jen says this. She says, Sean, I'm getting ghosted lately. Why are my calls, I should say, not showing? Let me just adjust that. So there's a couple of reasons why this could be happening, and I'm not 100% sure. But the secret is, how do you deal with it when it does happen to you? And so in this video, I'm going to give you 3 steps to walk right through all of that. So when I first started in sales, I remember getting ghosted all the time. And I hated it because I would put so much effort in. I would make so many cold calls. I would set up all these appointments, and then I would even go into their office and they would be like, oh, so-and-so's not here. He's not ready to talk to you or whatever. And then I could never find him. And I was always freaking out. I was like, why does this always keep happening to me? And what I found was there was, as I kind of continued to go through this process and I started reading sales books and learning some other tips and tricks, what I came across was a couple of things that I think will help everybody that happens. So if your calls are not showing up, here's a couple of things that you want to consider. Number 1, don't assume that they don't want to meet with you. See, I had this huge problem of always being like, oh man, it must be me. And I always thought it was me and my problem of like, they don't want to talk to me. But it wasn't so much that they didn't want to talk to me. It was that they are busy people too. They have a life going on, just like you, just like me. And therefore, I had to retrain myself to not assume that it was me. So that was the first thing I had to deal with. But when the calls do not show, please, please, please give yourself a little bit of mind work here and just understand that it's not you. Don't assume that they just don't want to show up because it's you, right? You need to ask them. A lot of the time when a call doesn't show up, the first thing I do after about 10 minutes of a no-show, I send a quick message to them, whether it be an email or text or direct social, and I ask them, hey, is everything okay? Are we still meeting today? In fact, we have a process when people don't show, and here's it. I'll share it with you. So after 2 minutes of somebody not being in a call with me, I will send them a message with the link or the phone number or however I'm supposed to talk with them and say, let's jam. And so that's after 2 minutes of them not showing up. Then I wait for 7 minutes. So now I'm at the 7-8 minute mark, and I'm going to send them another message. And that second message is going to say something like, hey, are we still meeting today? Right now. Are we still meeting today right now? And I'll let that one ride in the messaging. And then I get to 10 minutes. And at 10 minutes, I turn off the video, the monitor, I hang up the phone, or I tell myself, like, I only give myself 10 minutes. And you should too, because your time is valuable, just like mine and everybody else's, even your prospects. And so after 10 minutes, I stop, and then I send an email, a text, and a direct message saying, hey, listen, I hope you're okay, because I generally care about the people that I'm trying to connect with. And I ask them, I'm like, hey, we had a meeting today. Don't know what happened. I hope you're okay. Here is a booking link to reschedule the call. Please choose a time that's going to actually work for you and you're going to be able to show up. And I send that message in email. I send it in Messenger. I send it in text message, just all the forms of communication that you can have with your prospects, simply because they need to know, like, they didn't hold up their end of the bargain. See, I live and die by a calendar, as you probably do as well. And when people don't show up, that's time and that equals money. So we need to be sure to respect and protect our time. So don't assume, ask them what's going on, make sure they're okay. Very important. Secondly, make sure they have a way to easily reschedule. It's always about experience and user opportunities so members can just click a link and reset a time. The next time they come back and they'll say something, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, or whatever the thing is that, my mom's in the hospital or my dog died or whatever kind of thing they have going on in their life, that's fine. Remember, the first time is on them, the second time is on you, the third time it should never happen again, right? And then what I would do is, once I have that first response from them, I would say this. I would say, for our call, these are the couple of things that we're going to cover today. Is that okay with you? And I would reset what I call the rules of the game, meaning what are we going to talk about in the call? Because if I can give my prospect clarity on what we are actually going to speak about, then when we get on the call, it's going to be a lot easier for them to say, oh, that's awesome. I already know what I'm speaking about. I don't have any reservations or hesitation to get on that call because I'm aware. And so being a little bit over communicative on talking about what you're going to speak on during the call is important. But remember, leave it up to only 3 things. Like, hey, the rules of the game, like when we jump on the call, right? When you're talking back voice, when we jump on the call, I want to make sure we cover this, this, and this. Is there anything you would want to add to that agenda? And then they'll respond yes or no, or maybe so. And you say, great, I'm looking forward to meeting you on bang. I saw you reset on this date, and then you're good, right? So that's what to do when they don't show. So if you've gotten people to not show up, don't assume, ask them, reschedule with them, give them an opportunity to reschedule, and then confirm what you're going to talk about when you actually get on the horn. That's what to do when they don't show. Now, the other thing I wanted to tell you is this: we got to stop this process because this is a symptom of a broken process. If people are ghosting you often, it's a symptom of a broken sales process that you may have earlier. Very important to know that. So what do we do? How do we review our process and make changes? Well, very simply, did you pre-qualify the candidate? Meaning, in our world, we go and we look at their social properties, we do some research, we look at websites, we understand, is this person truly a good fit? And do I believe, as the person that's going to be speaking to them, that they have something or a problem that I know that I could probably solve if they had that problem? So it's an assumption of they probably have the problem that I'm going to solve. And I make sure that that's a checkbox or a yes. And then I would move to the next one. It's like, were you clear on why you're meeting, right? In your process, as you start communicating with these people to get them set up to speak with them, to see if you can build some sort of a connection and make a deal or something, we need to be clear on our communication. We need to tell them like, hey, I'm building this awesome movement. I want you to come check it out. I think you may be a fit to join our tribe. And in the process, like if you're struggling with this, or this, I would love to talk about that too. That's interesting to you. Let's connect, right? And then we're very clear on the exact thing that we're going to be talking about, right? And once we've done that, then the other thing we need to put into our process, if we don't have it in there, is what system do you use to remind them? See, I've been a direct communications person for a long time, even before the internet came around. I love the internet because it is like one of, if not the most powerful electronic tools of all times. And if you don't have a system to remind people to connect, see, like before the internet, what I'd use is text message and I'd send emails. I guess emails are on the internet, but I'm talking about social media. But I would send an email and I would remind them 3 days before my meeting, and then a day before my meeting, I would send a text, I would send an email, and I would just remind them, hey, looking forward to meeting with you, looking forward to meeting with you. Now we have the ability to do it in Messenger, which makes it so much faster, so much easier. It's awesome. So all you have to do in your process, if you want to stop getting ghosted all the time, is make sure, again, they're pre-qualified, you're clear on why you wanted to meet with them, and then you have a system that all the way up to that time when you're supposed to connect with them, you're sending little checkpoints. This is the work that we need to do as sales professionals, because when you do this, it's game over. Like they'll show up all the time. See, when I started doing this and I started having this 3-step process, so I'd schedule the meeting the first time. I'd say, this is the one thing that I want you to think about before a meeting, right at point. So that was the first piece of homework. 3 days before the call, send another message saying something like, hey, I'm excited to meet you here this week. And then a day before, I'd say, hey, looking forward to meeting you tomorrow. Typically, I'd always get a thumbs up, or I'd get a heart, or I'd get some sort of thing on my comment. And then I would know, hey, okay, that's acknowledgement that they've seen my message and they're most likely going to show up. When I did this 3-step process, what I found is my show up rates went from like 60 to almost 90%. I got a 30% increase in my show up rates. And you can do the same thing. It's very easy to do. I just shared exactly how to do that. So if you find yourself getting ghosted, we'll just go back here, and your calls are not showing up. I hope this answers that question for you, because this is one thing that I think a lot of people could use really easily. And it's something that's simple to do. And that's it. Guys, you just been tuned up. By the way, if this is valuable, smash that subscribe button, hit the notifications, turn the bells on. Man, gosh, sales is so powerful and you can be so good at it. So just all I encourage you to do, keep following along. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. With that said, I will see you tomorrow. Bye for now.